One of my university professors made a profound statement that I've never forgotten. I quote, "Aviation laws, regulations, and procedures were written in blood." End of quote. He explained himself further by saying what we enjoy in aviation today is as a result of people losing their lives or getting seriously injured because of aircraft accidents and incidences. We cannot take crew resource management for granted because it came as a result of the sacrifice of people who went ahead of us. Aviation stands tall on the shoulders of others. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Captain Mary Mukulu Kai from Nairobi, Kenya. It's a privilege and an honor to be able to be a speaker in this amazing conference. Today I want to talk about CRM under the subtitle, One Size Fits All. I will not attempt to bore you by speaking about the theory of CRM, as I am aware that most of you know about it, and I believe that many of you would be able to make a better presentation than I would. So allow me to talk about crew resource management and tie it to real life situations. One size fits all. What has that got to do with CRM? Aviation is a dynamic industry, and I am biased when I say it is the coolest industry in the world. It does not matter the profession one is in, for as long as it is aviation related, we wear our badge with honor. Allow me to focus on the flight deck because that is the place I'm familiar with and that is where I spend most of my career in. As I mentioned earlier, aviation is a dynamic industry. We can conduct 2 flights flown on the same day to the same destination, but the experiences will be different. What do I mean by that? It depends on the time the flight was flown, the equipment for navigation that was used, and the air traffic, amongst other things. I want to talk about human personality. No 2 people are the same. For the ones who have interacted with identical twins, it may be hard to tell them apart by their features, but you can easily tell them apart by their personality traits. Hence, the reason why one size fits all cannot be used in aviation. Maslow's hierarchy of needs tries to describe mankind depending on the level of life they're in. The bottom of the pyramid deals with the physiological needs, while the top deals with self-actualization. Human beings look for identity, acceptance, approval, and a sense of belonging. As I mentioned earlier, we all have different personality traits. During my command upgrade, we were urged to keep the flight deck relaxed without compromising on safety. What do I mean by that? Give the person what they need. One of the ways that I kept the cockpit relaxed was by trying to analyze my first officer's personality when we had a general conversation before the flight. This helped me to determine what the first officer's needs are. I will give an example. In a situation where I was paired with a domineering first officer, the tendency would be to try to put him down in their place, but in the contrary, I would allow them to take charge of the flight. But I emphasized that I had the final authority at all times in case of emergency, so as to avoid any kind of confusion. I would allow the first officer to lead the show. What do I mean by that? During joint briefing, they would talk to the cabin crew, they would brief them about the flight, the routing, the time, the altitude. I would allow him to liaise with the ground staff to ensure that the baggage and the cargo has been loaded. I would allow the same first officer to talk up with the engineer to ensure that the aircraft is well maintained and that it is ready for the flight, and also the fuel that is needed for the trip. Then I would just allow him to ensure that the flight is boarded on time so that we can leave on time. When I did that, there's one thing I always noticed that was constant. The first officer lit up and he felt a part of the team. Why? Because they saw that they were valued. That did not take anything away from me. For the fact that I'm a captain, I will always remain the captain on the flight. The flight would be relaxed and enjoyable after that. Allowing the first officer's needs to be met because of their personality does not take anything away from me. If anything, it allows me to even just have that joy of letting that person be who they are. The running joke in aviation is that FO does not stand for first officer, but forever oppressed. CRM teaches us to work with people and not suppress them, simply because they have a different personality or their worldview is different from ours. We have to remember that safety is key and we should keep it at all times. In conclusion, I have to mention the current situation about COVID-19. This pandemic has redefined life, not only in aviation, but for the entire world. Businesses shut down and aviation industry was not spared. A friend of mine who is a frequent flyer said that if someone would have told him that his favorite airline would not be in the skies for a few hours, let alone several weeks, he would have laughed because it was an impossible situation. His narrative has now changed. Most airlines have reduced their flights frequency as a result that they have laid off most of their staff. The staff that have been retained have had to accept salary pay cut. This pay cut has not spared pilots, and this is a major concern. Are our skies safe? Everyone has financial commitments that have been disrupted because of the pandemic. It is important for airlines to rethink how they will deal with their crew. How does a pilot fly safely when he or she is worried about losing their income? They've lost their income, it means they have their financial obligations. How about their homes? Are they safe? Are they going to lose their homes? Will they be able to put food on the table? Will they be able to pay school fees for their children? We all know in the African culture, one job sustains 7 families. This adds more stress to the pilots. Others have issues about their health. They worry, will I contract the COVID-19 when I am on board? We have procedures and checklists that act as a safety net, but it does not cater for the situation at hand. Some pilots are capable of putting their worries at the back of their minds, focus on the flight, and fly from point A to point B safely, while others, because of their personality, will tend to be worried about what next. They feel that their sense of comfortability has been taken away from them. One cannot afford to give an aircraft worth millions of dollars to crew who are under financial stress and have anxiety because of their health that is beyond their control. The answer to this situation is crew resource management. Airlines should work together to repackage CRM to address and apply the situations at hand within the aviation industry. Thank you for your time.